Can we take a deep breath to start the show? Damn it.
It's another day in the difficult neighborhood.
Yeah, my background looks cool. What are you? Is that a background? Or are you really outside?
I'm really outside. Like, I didn't really have my own like space to be able to record today. So it's a beautiful day here in Texas. So I decided to come outside. So you're going to hear some peacocks, some trucks, some cars, some dogs, the wind blowing.
That's
it's
fair.
Real outside today.
Yeah.
So I apologize in advance. But
I think it's okay. If it's too loud, we'll stop. Slow energy today. Can we do slow energy?
Yes.
Usually it's like so much. So the big thing is that last week's episode was covering the Carter musical and the Taylor Swift. So, thinking about these two characters, Billy and Julie, they have gotten through that. And now it's as if they almost get a win. Well, they kind of did get a win because Andrea Mumford liked their work. Yes. But it's like, what's next? That's what we're left with. And they may not have won an award on their show, but I think there's an award to be given. Don't you think? Can I tell you about it?
I do. I mean, I think like the follow through deserves an award within itself because they did it. As crazy as it was, they actually, from start to finish, they completed it, which I feel is a big win in itself.
And no cut corners. Well, no cut corners. I think we should get an award too. And it really was one of the 265 things that have like pissed me off this morning, afternoon or night. I don't even know what the fuck time it is. But the award I wanted to give, and I think that if you frame things in a certain way, it could work. I want to give an award for my least valuable performance from last week. Yeah, this is our 17th episode together. And
wow, really? Already 17?
Yeah, I think so. And 16 was just not good. And I don't even know if today will be good. But anyways, so I figured, and I was going to text it to you or tell you, but I was like, if you frame something and call it award winning, it doesn't sound as bad. So the award that I got for our last episode, if you go back and watch or listen, was not my best work. But from the sound of it, I'm already going to be topping that today. But we'll do our best. I think there was just a lot going on. And okay, so on today's episode, we'll take a celebratory Kellie, celebrate your life, because you're gonna tell us about Sagittariuses and why they're so great, and it's your birthday month. And
it's my birthday month. Yay!
I've always found the Sagittariuses to be really cool. I think I've said the Virgos
sign in the zodiac.
Except for Virgo's number one. But there has always been, in fact, when we worked at the radio station all those years ago, there was a lot of Sagittarius women that were really cool. So I didn't even know you were with that. I mean, back then in 2003, I've known obviously in the recent years. What surprised me though about you is that you said you like to go to Disneyland. I was like, what? Disneyland on your birthday?
It's so weird. It's so contradictory to my personality, but I absolutely love it. And I'm kind of bummed that I'm not at Disneyland right now. But
it's okay.
I mean, the greatest thing about Sagittarius, like all the things that I read about the star sign and all of that, I feel like encompasses who I am, like to the T. Like Sagittarius, they're really cool, just outgoing, kind of go with the flow people, and very spontaneous, which is one of my favorite things about meeting other people with similar signs, because there doesn't have to be a plan. It's like, cool, let's just do whatever. And I've always been that way. It's like things can change on a dime, and it's all good with me.
So Sagittarius is easy breezy. That's what you're saying?
Easy breezy. Very go with the flow and spontaneous, which is cool. Like,
okay. I thought they were fun too. I was going to put fun. That would have been like something in the vein of like, I guess go with the flow. Like you girls, Sagittarius women, you do know how to have a really great time. I think that's what I always saw. Well, in the celebration rather, I don't know what words are coming out today. We're gonna can we do 21 questions for you?
We can. I'm a little nervous, but
okay. Because I want to find out.
I just said I was easy breezy.
Yeah. I want to find out if you are truly, or if the slogan everyone loves a Sagittarius is true. So we're going to do 21 questions for your birthday, real quick, you know, speed round, just to kind of know more about you. I know so much about you, but we put together 21 questions and maybe we'll learn a little bit more. Is that okay, Kellie?
Okay. So is it like quick 1-2 word answers? Is that how we're going? Like shout them out?
It doesn't even matter because everything we plan doesn't work anyway. So who gives a shit?
Okay, cool. Let's go.
Just calm down, shut up and listen. No, I'm kidding. Okay, 21 questions. Here we go. So, you know, our recap's coming, difficult people, but we got it focused, okay? So 21 questions with Kellie.
I did not approve these questions, by the way, beforehand.
Say what? Oh, you didn't approve them. No, but they're nice. I know you well enough to know what will piss you off. So we're not pissing you off today. Today's not the day. Maybe 2022. Today, we're just going to be cute. So listen.
All right, let's go.
Question number 1, celebrating Sagittarius's and Kellie's birthday month and vibe, the whole thing. So Texas or LA? Go.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm 50-50 both.
Way to commit. This is going to go
that's the
terrible.
Thing. Commitment, commitment's hard for me.
This is going to go terribly. Okay.
Yeah, already. I already failed.
Remember how I just said our show last time was terrible? And now this one's going to be worse. Second question rather. Best part of being an oldest sibling?
Being so wise and just a genius at everything.
Okay. No one to argue with you on that. What did Kellie want to do when she grew up? So when you were growing up in Texas, you know, what did you want to do? What was your journey?
I wanted to be a film director.
Oh, okay. You mentioned that a little bit.
I've always wanted to be in entertainment. So I always wanted to live in Hollywood and do all that jazz.
And she sure did. We have the stories to back it up that will go on the Patreon. I'm kidding. She's a lady. Listen, I know I always try to put you in a corner. Favorite breakfast meal? Question number 4.
Ooh, my favorite breakfast meal, biscuits and gravy.
Okay. Favorite dinner meal?
Chicken fried steak. I'm very Texas.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but sure. Number 6, are you team never not working or team rest and relaxation? This is a tough one. Working. Oh, really? Still?
No, still. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when we met, we were in our early 20s. Great. Mm-hmm. But now that we're like, you know, significantly over 35, I feel like we need we need a little R&R. Okay. Shame on you for that. I need
it. I don't do it, but I need it.
Okay. You answered fairly. So question number 7, celebrating the Sagittariuses here and Kellie for her birthday. Who was your first celebrity crush?
My first one?
I mean, shit, if you got 10 of them, go ahead, list them all.
One of my first ones I can say was Jamie Walters, who used to be on
he's driving right by you.
I know. He's actually a firefighter in like San Fernando Valley or something now in real life.
Can I guess who he is? Can I guess who he is?
Yes.
Is he the one that was on 90210 for a little bit?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I actually went to an autograph signing when I was young. He like almost married Drew Barrymore or something.
Oh, okay.
At one point.
He
like
dated
way back in the day.
Donna Martin on the show though, right?
Yes, he was a bad guy on the show, but I had a huge crush on him like way back when.
Oh, okay, that's telling. That's telling.
Not that character, because he was on a show before that called The Heights, and I used to like him on that show. And he did like a movie with John Travolta. Like I can give you his whole resume.
All right, the IMDb on Jamie. Okay, who? We just asked number 7. Question number 8. Favorite TV show from the 80s?
Favorite TV show from the 80s? She-Ra.
Okay. You dressed as She-Ra for Halloween, right?
I did when I was a kid, yeah.
We're learning so much about Kellie, celebrating her birthday. Favorite TV show from the 90s?
90210.
Okay. All 10 seasons, or did you like the early seasons, or did you like them later?
I liked the after Brenda left, I kind of didn't really like pay too much attention after that. So earlier seasons were my favorite, but I still watched the whole thing.
I have a feeling you liked Emily Valentine, though. Were you into that whole era, Brandon and Emily Valentine? Not at all?
Honestly, no.
Really?
No, I thought like I mean I did sort of, but like her character specifically, not really a fan. But I did used to have like my bangs down, and everybody used to tell me I looked like Brenda when I was in middle school.
Oh yeah, we've seen pictures of your hair, and we will not talk about it today. What about Gina Kincaid with Dylan in the later seasons? No, Vanessa Marcel. You have to have loved that portion.
I love her, yes, and I didn't like the whole Dylan Kellie BS. Like I didn't really like that, but
Okay.
I did like her. And when Tiffany Amber Thiessen came on, like she was kind of annoying, that whole like thing, whatever. I feel like the storylines were kind of reaching at the later it went on, but then it kind of came back around, and with Brandon and Kellie getting married and stuff, and whatever
the case, good answer, because that was a great show. And yes, the early
Great show.
seasons were really good too. That's right. Okay, celebrating Sagittarius Kellie over here, the queen. Your first concert.
My first concert was Stacey Q and the Jets.
Oh, okay.
They were both performing together in San Antonio. That was my first concert.
So how old were you? Were you under were you a teenager or younger?
A little bit younger. I was probably like 10 or 11. Maybe.
That's good. My first concert wasn't until I was a teen, and it was Janet Jackson. So that makes that sort of makes up for it. Yeah. Okay. Next question, celebrating the queen's birthday here. In high school, were you a social butterfly or were you a bookworm?
Social butterfly.
Question number 12. What fashion trend? Wait, what's the question? I wrote these questions. Question number 12. What fashion trend do you look back on and cringe?
Wearing like the Birkenstocks with socks with like the big boy shorts.
I can see it, and I can see
I
the
totally
way
did that, and it was horrible. When like you would wear boys' clothes, no.
I could see the way your hair would look also at that same because we're around the same age. Like we went to junior high and high school around the same era, so I'm like, oh yeah, I know what she's talking about.
Yeah, awful.
Okay, so also back like in the high school era, were you a senior superlative at all?
Sort of, but I kind of.
You either are or you aren't. What do you mean, sort of?
Well, when I showed up to school, I think I was.
But you know what? You were not voted for a senior superlative.
Oh, I thought you said something else. I'm sorry. I thought you meant something else. I was like, wait, what?
We're already going off the rails. I knew this would happen. Senior superlatives is like you got pretty.
No, I know what it is.
Best dressed.
I had best eyes. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah.
I should have got voted something, and I wasn't.
I heard another word. I'm sorry.
Well, I hope I said it right. Senior superlatives.
No, you did. You did.
Okay. Question number 14. Celebrating our Sagittarius queen. Favorite memory from working in LA radio.
My favorite memory. I think what my favorite memory was all the people that I got to meet. I met some really great people, and just kind of the friendships that I made there is like my favorite part. Aside from like the fun celebrity stuff, like really meeting some really down to earth great people is what I treasure the most from that time.
Ooh, and as a foreshadowing in our episode, one of the celebrity encounters we'll talk about, because there was a tie-in to this week's episode of Difficult People that we're recapping. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing yet. Keep it as a surprise. Look at me putting my hand up like, don't say nothing. What was your favorite memory working as a publicist?
My favorite memory working as a publicist has to be I have a lot, but
could it be the fact that you challenged yourself and that you learned you could do something and you dominated at it, and you may have not even known that was in your cards? Because that is what I saw as far as your friend. We knew each other in early radio, and then all of a sudden you got into this career, which I always thought it was part of your plan. But as we've talked recently, you're like, no, I just did it.
Well, I think yes. And I think that I created my own way to do publicity. I never did straightforward what you learned in school. And I think that's what I cherish most about it, where the companies I worked for and the people that I worked with let me do that. And I got to create whatever I did. I just kind of made it up.
She's a boss. That's what we're hearing. Question number, is it 16? Okay, question 16 of 21, celebrating our Sagittarius. In terms of dating, are you typically head over heels or playing the field? Like, what is your dating style? Like, do you
Neither.
fall?
I don't even date.
You don't? Do you fall quick, or do you like a lot of options? Like, do you cast a wide net? Like, do you swipe a bunch, or yeah, what is it for you? Like, what's your vibe?
When I was younger, I used to cast a very wide net because I was just really indecisive. But as I've gotten older, I fall a lot faster, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's because the older you are, the more you know, like, your
Yeah.
boundaries or what's not going to work for you. Like, you're pretty
Yeah.
assured. You're like, okay, this is fun, but this is definitely not going to go anywhere. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good
I'm
answer.
a lot more like straightforward and vocal about it too. Yeah.
Fantastic answer. Question number 16. Oh, 17 rather. Actually, I don't even know what number. What's something that's unexpectedly brings you joy? So something you never knew would bring you joy, and it actually does bring you tons of joy.
Making stuff physically with my hands, like actually refurbishing furniture, making clothes, things I never thought I would actually do.
Okay. Yeah, you got to be you can't just be digital all the time. I like that. No? Especially being behind a computer and all that stuff, like publicity, like good answer. Question number 18. Will you ever get that 2003 short haircut ever again?
Never.
It was a mistake.
It wasn't even my mistake.
Yeah, but what an impression to move.
I wanted shoulder length hair, not ear length elf hair.
You make an impression. You're like, I'm in a new city. Everyone, look at my hair. That was funny.
Traumatized.
Refer to our past episodes to get more on that. Okay, question number 19, you sort of already answered, but still, why is it so important to be creative?
It's such a good outlet, and for me personally, it goes along the lines of self-care for me. It lets me express emotions and feelings in a different, like, kind of non-stressful, non-violent way. But without getting, if there's anything I'm stressed out about or upset about or angry, whatever, if I can sit with like a canvas and paint or just like get in my room and make something, it kind of lets all of that out, and I get to just kind of get perspective on stuff. Because with Sagittarius too, I have really short fuses. So I go from 0 to 1,000,000 in like 3 seconds, but then it burns out just as fast. So sometimes I just need a second.
So do you like feel that feeling and then you're like, wait, I need to turn to being creative or else I'm gonna start getting a little mad? Like, can you see that coming and kind of fix your day a little bit? Yeah.
Because I can kind of get like, Yosemite Sam when he's chasing like Bugs Bunny and gets real mad and like his head, like the steam comes out of his head. Yeah. But then it just like goes away. So I can be like super mad and then, give me 5 minutes and I forgot why I was mad.
I'll let you redecorate my space and you will not put an invoice to me at all.
There you go. It'll be therapy.
Only because you want to be creative. See how that works? Okay. Question number 20, the ultimate travel location, somewhere you've been and somewhere you haven't. So I need 2 travel locations. One that was like, you've already went there, it was amazing. And one that's like a destination that you want to go to.
Costa Rica was probably one of my favorites. Loved it. Went all around that country, from coast to coast, and I just loved everything about it. I definitely want to go back there. A place I haven't been that I really want to go to is Spain. I haven't been there, and I really want to go there.
All right. On our episode 200, we'll do a live recording.
Yes.
Wishful thinking. That's all I'm doing these days. Question 21. Wraps this up. This is celebrating the Sagittarius, the whole month, the whole vibe, which, Kellie's birthday, she's only getting younger, like fine wine, the whole thing. Question 21 of our 21 questions. What makes your sisterly bond so wonderful?
Me and my sister weren't very close when we were young. We're 5 years apart, and we just are so different. We didn't really have a lot in common, so we didn't really hang out much when we were younger. And as we got older, I forced her to come live with me in California for a little while, and we really got to know each other as adults, and really kind of getting to know the people that we are, aside from just being sisters. And I think that's what's really helped us be able to forge a better friendship in addition to being sisters. And I mean, I love her. I couldn't imagine not having her as my sister.
And you know what? Wrapping up these 21 questions on Kellie, she sent in a message. Kellie, don't talk. Listen to this.
Hi, my name is Crystal. I'm Kellie's sister, and I just wanted to say happy birthday. You are the one person in my life that inspires me to be the best version of myself every single day, and I love you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Oh, that made me cry.
Yeah, we just wanted to do something a little different. 21 questions to get to know more about you. Obviously, our show is about difficult people, but enough is
it doesn't
difficult.
get any more difficult than me, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and we wanted to celebrate
listen to that.
Oh, it's terrible. We wanted to celebrate Sagittariuses. We wanted to celebrate you, Kellie, for your birthday. I've known you since 2003, as we always say. We'll dive right into this episode for difficult people, but I just wanted you to feel good on your birthday month, and hopefully the new year for you will be better than you've ever asked for and all that good stuff. Okay?
Thank you. Well, if I can get in to see #cats, life will be golden.
Okay, so let's start our recap. Difficult People season 2, episode 8 already. It's crazy, right?
Crazy. #cats. What an episode. I mean, there's always difficult situations, obviously, but going through this episode was such a fun ride. I mean, you got everything from this crazy Broadway show to like, people ditching you for their gay besties, and it's kind of like all this stuff, and working with the trainer. So
even Marilyn didn't know what she was gonna get. Like Marilyn was even like, okay. Chad, was his name Chad? He was talking about something from Modern Family, and she's like, whoa.
Stop.
Yeah,
No,
too much. You didn't know you were going to get all that, but he was lovable. But something happens at the end, but we'll wait till that. It was great. There was a lot going on, and what I'd love to see at the very beginning is a little bit more success for the two of them. We like when they have people admiring them. In this case, it was a Method Man, which was such a shock.
Yes, I loved seeing Method Man. Yeah, that was such a fun. He was a fan of comedy, a fan of theirs, and really genuinely wanted to help them out. So it was fun to see that, and they were super excited about Method Man being their first celebrity friend, which was great.
First celebrity friend. Now, in your days of working in publicity, you had come across Method Man at some point?
It was when I worked at Kiss FM. Actually,
at the radio station. Oh, okay.
At the radio station. It was when I worked at the radio station, and I was doing a remote with Dave Stiles, who is still on the radio in LA, and we were doing upfronts. And Redman and Method Man had their show that was going to be on network television, and so they were coming and doing interviews about the show. And we have a picture that hopefully I can find and share with you guys. It's really fun, and it's with my horrible short haircut. So,
oh yeah,
it encompasses that time of life.
By the end of our recaps, I want every terrible short haircut photo. Your introduction to LA. See, that's the thing. Because you didn't like your haircut, you had to overcompensate with your personality. I think that's why everyone loved you at the beginning. you made such a splash. Anyway,
I mean, that haircut was awful, and this picture will fully kind of drive that point home. But
isn't that crazy though? That was an earlier stage of his career too, as far as that part. The music, sure, but like where he's went artistically as an actress, like he's always working, and he's not getting any younger, but he's getting in more shape year after year. So who would have ever thought that he would have done as much as he's done in the career? Maybe it was when you met and you put some great energy.
Some good juju out there. No, it's great. And it's like I've watched him on so many great shows and doing so many great things. So it's really fun to kind of see that, that show didn't last very long, but he has gone on to do so many other things. And, they gave me a hat that I still have from a clothing line they were doing.
Very good.
So Method Man was my first celebrity friend too.
Yeah. So that's exciting for Billy and Julie. Like he gives us a bunch of ironic, like, he likes Mysteries of Laura. He likes, he wants to go see Cats as well, #cats as well. But more importantly, he believes in them. And that's the exciting thing too, because he talks about, Judd Apatow had Lena Waithe's show, or Lena Dunham's show. And I'm gonna Amy Poehler, sort of, executive produced Even Difficult People. So it's that idea of having somebody to usher you into the next stage of your career, which the great irony, or not even irony, but the cool like tie-in of like Judd Apatow now, in the current time doing a movie, with Billy Eichner for Bros, in summer 2022. So that's it's just amazing. It's just real cool for us to do this recollection and going back to watching these episodes. So
yeah, and he really did. He called his people, set up some meetings, and they went on the circuit to pitch a sketch. Their idea was to do a comedy sketch show, and they're going around to different networks to try to pitch these like outrageous concepts.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite parts of that whole series was their first pitch meeting was at NBC. And the VP of development comes out, and he's got like 7 blondes that he's surrounded by, like very Hugh Hefner-esque, right?
Yeah.
And he's sitting with all these women, and he's got a good energy. He's very personable.
He's very network-ish. You can feel it. Yeah,
very network-ish, like all positive things, but he ultimately passes on their show. And then, but you see just like this character kind of stood out because you see his career kind of dwindle down. And he goes from being the VP at one network, and then he's an assistant at another network, and then he ends up as a waiter at a restaurant. And it's just like backwards, which is, and unfortunately, sometimes it does happen in that industry. You can be on the top and, 1 minute, and then you're, waiting tables the next. Like, it's so unpredictable, just the industry in general. And I think that's what it was showing.
And kind of the momentum of, if one of your projects does good, then you do get this deal after this deal after this deal. I slipped and said the word the name Lena Waithe instead of Lena Dunham, but thinking about her career too. Like, I remember watching Lena Waithe on, not that she didn't do the work before, she was very talented, but I remember watching her on Master of None. Then Master of None ushers in the Thanksgiving episode, she wins an award, and like suddenly it's like Lena Waithe is everywhere, So on the same token that we saw this executive sort of go lower with his career, you can also continue to flourish just based on a little bit of luck and timing. I often say that so much to this stuff is timing. I feel like when I say that, sometimes people think I'm like being lazy, and I'm like, that's not the fucking case. But it is really, no,
but you're right.
Well, if you think about,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
If you think about that executive, at the first meeting that they went to was NBC, and in a matter of one conversation, they see all the artwork from a couple other shows being taken down and then placed on, in the frames as it would be if you walked into a network. So why did I mention that? Why did I bring that up?
No, like the dwindling down, just like of careers and stuff. Sorry, I interrupted.
Meaning if his show did well, like, he could have been, ascending, not decreasing.
Giving the impression that he greenlit a show that, just didn't make it. And so they just didn't trust his instincts anymore. So they kicked him out, trying to get somebody new in. And it's like, and that's kind of how it goes, right? If you, if you don't have like that hot idea at that moment, there's only so many, chances they're going to give you to stick around. Yeah.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
I know. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
No, I can't believe I was, I think Ellen makes a joke in her stand-up years ago, Here and Now, how like you have a point that you're going to make, and it's such a good point, and you're telling yourself like, this is a good point. Hold on, I'm going to blow her away. Kelly's not going to, she's not going to know how good this point is. And then in the middle of it, you're like, what was the point? And then you just got to wrestle out of it. In this case, because we let it shine and we let our failures come right through the show every time, I said, you know what, Kelly, I don't know what I'm saying. Take it over. And luckily you did. That is called teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. Basically, if we pitched a show, it'd be canceled already, is what we're getting at. Yeah. But who cares?
Whatever. That's why we make our own.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And there's 7 people who really appreciate that. I gotta tell you.
Hey.
Yeah. But it was exciting. Oh, and speaking of when they were going from meeting to meeting to meeting, all the different networks, I did get a big fascination on the way they really served it up. They really spoon-fed the the type of content that the particular network would like. It was something that I was like, oh, look at the way they switch up. I liked that. It was just very funny to me. Billy Eichner, when he was Billy Epstein, when he was giving E, a pitch, he was very E. When they were doing Comedy Central, Julie was like, listen, I'm a broad, but I'm funny. What the fuck? They played it. Yeah, I liked that. I like to see that.
At Adult Swim, it's like, do you vape or should I get my clown bong, or what did she say?
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting because there's that line. This is why I like that we do our own little show, even though today is just not the best one. But it is it is us being able to do what we want to do, because I have been in situations, as far as being on the radio, being in, I worked on the Rick Dees show, but then I did Las Vegas and Phoenix and all these different markets. And when you're in these different markets, they're like, they want to just utilize different audiences. So you are sort of 100% you, but only portions of you. It's really crazy. So it just made me laugh. I was like, that is sincerely what you have to do if you're pitching yourself. You have to like showcase that you'll be valuable for this audience.
Well, you have to show that you did your homework too, that you know where you're walking into, because it's not just a blanket. Not everyone is the same. So you have to show that you can evolve and kind of gear your content toward whatever audience that is watching that particular network. So that's essentially what they were trying to do.
And they did
a little
good.
Too over the top, maybe, but
oh, you think? I was going to say,
mean, on some a little bit, but it was
as a duo that typically does the cut corners, as we talk about, I liked seeing them go the extra mile. To me, it was funny. Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, it was definitely funny. I loved it. Yeah. Yeah, Julie was really trying to make that point. Like, she's a guy's guy, she's a guy's girl. Like, she can hold her own with whatever, whatever the audience needs to be.
I had not remembered Billy Epstein, the way he talked about like the E network. I was like, oh my God, this is so funny. The way he came out of character just a little bit. It was really funny.
Yeah, no, it was great. And then, oh my gosh, can we talk about his trainer, please? Like Joe McHale. I love Joe McHale.
Yeah.
Character was funny. I mean, he's feeding him cheeseburgers like on the treadmill or like on the climber. It's like,
yeah. Well, and it opens up a whole conversation, which Julie says some unmentionable things about you can't be a husband and employ your wife. We will not speak of such thing, but that is sort of what had happened. And it really breaks this whole thing down. And it's a question, I guess. Can you, if you're an employee, employer, small business, or whatever the case, are they really your friends, or is the person there to be your friend because of the job? So Billy was saying, oh, this guy really likes me. Like, we're really great friends. And Julie's like, no, he is, getting paid. So clearly he's just being cool with you. What is your thought on that?
I personally don't feel like you can really be truly friends with someone if there is a financial transaction. Mm-hmm. Because the expectations are a little skewed depending on what the financial situation is, like what the job situation is. But
yeah,
I don't know. I kind of agree with Julie on that.
I kind of do too. I think the key is, if you are that employer, you try to hire people that feel appreciated and are friendly to work with. But as far as them, they have to be nice to you, so he was right. But it did throw Billy for a loop, but it got him, I think, because he thought he had a friend, he was like not being typical Billy, which is usually being such a skeptic. And he would have, he typically would have been like, no, like, this is crazy, but he was kind of into it because he thought he was creating a bond. But what a way to lose weight. I like that.
That sounds like a good way to work out to me.
So you were about to do the workout plan. You were like, oh, this looks great.
That's awesome. Feed me while I work it out.
You're like, if this really works, I'll do it. Yeah. Who needs a Brazilian butt lift? I will do that. Yeah.
I will do that. But then we find out he's gaining weight and being told that, muscle's heavier and whatever. And Julie's like, yeah, I've heard that before. Like, no.
I don't know. I guess that was the only reason Billy wasn't as judgmental as he would typically be. He was like thinking he had a buddy, In fact, Julie thinks that maybe like What did Julie think that he liked him or something too? Or was
Well,
that
at first she was like, no, he's just trying to sleep with you.
yeah.
And he's like, no, he's straight. Like, no, it's not like that. And she's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
See,
that's
she's
originally what she knew, that there was something going on other than just a straightforward professional relationship.
yeah.
But it's kind of one of those things. It's like, he goes out of character to kind of like, go with the flow on this one and go against his maybe more natural instincts. And and it's kind of one of those things, like, I know when I do that, when I go against my gut, it always turns to shit. Just like it's, when I give someone like the extra benefit of the doubt, even though I know I probably shouldn't, but I'm thinking maybe I'm being too harsh, or maybe I'm being too this or that or whatever. And then I do it and my situation ends up like Billy's. I mean, not to that extreme, but
you said a mouthful there. That's so true. You're so right. I mean, it's funny when people say the question like, oh, do you have any regrets? Do you have any regrets? And you're supposed to say, no, I don't have any regrets because the things that I went through led me to this point today. Kiss my ass. So I think that, yeah, I don't know what I think anymore, but you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Cause it just, that's what it reminded me of. It's like, you kind of, you let your guard down a little bit and you're like, okay, maybe I'm too this or I'm too that. No, you're never not.
Mm-hmm.
So now F that.
Yeah.
If, I'm super cutthroat because every time I always goes to shit.
Well, Kellie,
luckily I don't get like fattened up for cannibalism.
it was wild.
Kind of feels like that emotionally.
It was wild. But you know what's funny? How you just stated, and I made fun of no regrets. You stated how you should always go with what you truly feel and how your gut will never, your instincts will tell you. What's interesting about that is it's very similar when we were doing your 21 questions celebrating your birthday month. We noticed that you said that within the dating, you start to know more. So really what it comes down to is trusting your gut and your instincts as you get older. So there is room when you're very young to kind of just like try some stuff out and see what fits.
Right.
But as you get older, those boundaries and that parameter gets real tight of you're like, this ain't going to work for me. And I've been in situations where things have been presented to me that could be good opportunities. And I'm like, but I don't like that for shit. So it's basically, if I don't like it for shit, that needs to be where Ronnie, myself, I need to double down and say, stick with that. Because long-term, it ain't going to work. I took a job that has I would say ruined a lot of fucking bullshit. It was like a snowball effect. And I knew it was a shitty fucking job from the beginning. Like, and I told somebody recently about this job and they were like, yeah, but what if it would have worked? Da, 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 da. I was like, it was already trashed. If it would have worked, it would have just been because I'm amazing. So,
well,
what are you going to, that's, I mean, I solved the problem, Anyways.
I mean, it boils down to, you got to get to a point where the best relationship you have is with yourself and trusting yourself and not being afraid to know that what you think in your head is right. Like, you have to be confident in your choices. And I definitely was very bad at that. And I mean, I stayed in jobs longer than I should have when I knew it was shit and I knew I was being treated unfairly and I knew it just wasn't a good look. And I just was too chicken or too whatever to leave. And
have you stayed in relationships longer too for the same reason?
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting vulnerable here.
I have.
Sorry.
I have a couple of them. Yeah.
Yeah. See, the 20s are just difficult. That's why we like this show, because Billy and Julie are navigating as like 35 plus, like it's a little more fun to watch. And what's most fun too is that Billy, while he's doing all this stuff and while he's making the decision to be friends with Joel McHale's character or not, it's the option that he might have another friend. And that is like sort of a running joke within the series. It's like, well, it would be kind of good if I had another friend, because really it's
but he calls it a second friend.
I need a second friend. Yeah. But while they're so good with each other, he needs because she has Arthur, so he needs somebody. Yeah.
Well, which goes into Marilyn's jealousy over that relationship, because his relationship with Julie is what it is, in such a bond that she gets jealous because Julie will cancel plans with her to hang out with Billy, and it really hurts her feelings, and she doesn't know how to just say that. And I think sometimes we take our parents for granted a little bit in that way. And I know my mom has felt that from me, that when I was living in California and I would come to Texas to visit and I'd kind of take off with my friends, I think she always kind of felt a little jealous of that. And it reminded me of that. But in Marilyn's case, she's very unconventional. So she's not going to say that. She's going to go get her own gay bestie and rub it in Julie's face and show her how it feels.
That's so interesting what you say, though, about the taking for granted situation. I think with Marilyn's case, it's a little bit different, though, because she doesn't necessarily get along with Julie to begin with. So it might be a smidge different than the situation you're talking about. Well, but then again, who's to say you guys are like the closest either? You know, it's hard and it's complicated, but I think that it's important that you mention that you know yourself that, oh, I could be better. That's like I could treat her better. While Marilyn tries this scenario, Julie doesn't really get it right away, but it's typical Marilyn. She finds something to work, and you know, after a while, Julie will feel the pain or the I don't know, just she'll get the point. She'll get the I don't want to take Marilyn for granted. Regarding the character as you're just going to have that bestie, of course that's tough to sometimes watch because that's such a minimalized value of the person, but you know, that's neither here nor there. And it was done funny, and I think what made it great is that Marilyn started to realize, like, you can't just up and decide this is what you want to do, because let me tell you, that Chad, he had a lot to say. And she kept being in these situations where she's like, okay, I didn't want all this, I just wanted to show up my daughter. And lo and behold, he's given opinion after opinion. And that's to say that's before they get to the theater, which becomes a whole nother scenario, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's another thing too, is you have to, when you're thinking about that, like, you can't, like, this is a whole person. It's not just the stereotype of what you think you're getting. Like, there's so much more to it. So you can't just technically like grab a, gay bestie and sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to do this. Like, there's, this is a person that you're dealing with. It's not just for looks. So it's a lesson I think she learned in a very funny way, but.
And you should, across the board, you shouldn't be doing that. You should never really be, pulling people in and out just to sort of make a point to somebody else. Like, you should get burnt in some ways, because you're not really valuing the human, the human aspect. But Chad was funny. So,
yes.
And
well, when you're being just, when you're not being genuine, like, no good things happen, right?
True. That's the point. Yeah.
Lies always come out. So the truth will always comes out. So
yeah, let's get to
this episode for everyone.
Let's get to #Cats itself, because Matthew wants to go, but of course, that Julie ignores him, which was so funny. And then they all kind of sort of end up going. It seems like it's going to be a regular, typical show, but then it kind of goes to a different direction, I guess.
Well, yeah. Well, first off, she gets her tickets off of Craigslist. So it was just like, in the early days, Craigslist was a little bit more reputable, and you could actually have legit, transactions. I mean, I got my job at Playboy off of Craigslist. Fun fact.
Is this another story for the Patreon, Kellie?
But she ends up getting her tickets off of Craigslist, thinks that she made a Craigslist friend with the person that, made a new friend with the person that she's getting tickets for. And she's, going with Arthur because Billy is busy with his trainer, so he can't go with her. So she takes Arthur, and unfortunately the bitch got scammed. Like, what did the guy say behind her?
Yeah, she got scammed.
So she got some fraudulent tickets.
Yeah. And it doesn't make her happy. She wants to carry it out. Like, she wants her, it's a bit of her shortcoming. And you're right, there was a duality between the way Craigslist was at the beginning. But she wants to go report it, and for suddenly all of the crime of New York City to be not as important. See, she's so selfish. She like always puts herself as like, this is the biggest deal. And the guy's like, okay, we have this, this, and this, but let's worry about your stupid transaction.
Which ticket scalping is illegal anyway. So it's like.
And she totally feels like she's justified. She's like, handle it. Like, she's so convinced. And then she says an unmentionable, she says something unmentionable. And Arthur's like, oh my God, you said that. And I like the way she said, oh, you think that card was at the bottom of the deck? Oh, you're sadly mistaken. Like, she's just so
like
rude.
it's not even in the middle.
Yeah,
like she's telling the sob story, really wanting to make this guy feel bad for what he did. And granted, cheating someone is never a good look, being a scammer, all of that. But to retaliate,
she didn't own it. She didn't own it. Yeah.
She didn't. You got to just kind of throw your hands up and be like, oh, I got, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to stoop down and be the scammer yourself. And that's the lesson that she learned, and which is kind of what always happens. Like, she lets her her emotions get the best of her, and she acts out before really thinking about it.
Right.
And it ends up costing her various opportunities.
She is very selfish because she assumes that the world should stop because of her problem. And what she does real quickly, which I could identify with, she makes excuses.
Nothing's ever her fault.
Yeah, she's talking about like, well, this and that and the money and this and that. And, I had to do a recap of this and it was a 2-parter and I only got paid the one. It's just like, she will do what it takes to rationalize her error or her mistake or her misstep. And on one hand, as a viewer, it's so fun to watch. But on another hand, I like have to check myself. I'm like, oh my God, I hope I never do that. I know we have all certainly done that on an occasion, because it's a fine line between an excuse and a reason. But she learned. So let's just move on. Yeah.
Eventually she did. And it cost her her friendship with Method Man. Because she told a lie. And at the end of the day, and no matter how many episodes we go through, she still hasn't learned lying doesn't get you anywhere.
And Method Man was, wherever they ended up, as far as the network is where they ended up. But, there was funny, there was a rebrand, et cetera, et cetera. But like the fact that he wanted to go to bat for her, she lost it. She lost it because she was trying to balance so many different lies. It all comes together. And even Method Man, he's like, oh, well, your daughter, she had gone through this severe thing. And Marilyn's like, what? And that's exactly when he knew. He's like, wait a minute, are you lying? And then he was done. So not funny anymore. The funny
Liars
thing
never win.
The funny thing that did happen though was the element of all of a sudden Chad feels like he's spent a lot of quality time with Marilyn, and he feels like he wants to get he wants to get even closer. He wants to get to know her.
He really wants to get to know her.
Did that shock you a little bit?
Oh my gosh, yes. And she's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't like swing that way. And he's like, oh no, I do. And she's like, no.
He was like, I didn't come here to not get no, he was
I didn't come here for nothing. I'm out.
What would you do if you were in that situation? Would that shock the shit out of you?
Yes, especially because, when you're in a situation with someone that you feel has no sort of attraction to you in that way, you relax a little in a different way. So I don't know, like, and then it feels kind of like violating to be like, wait a minute, what?
Well, you rest assured you're not the team for me, Kelly, so we'll never have that issue. But I assure you, it was some funny shit, though. It was actually really funny to see.
Yeah, it was. Her reactions were just like, oh my God. It's like, well, be careful what you wish for, Marilyn. Yeah. You can't go into a situation and not be prepared.
What I liked about this episode with Marilyn specifically is that she wasn't as confident as she usually is. Like usually she is telling Julie what to do. And it's funny to see Julie, even though she was making some errors and some missteps, Julie was on her own, kind of a thing, like you said, which led to the jealousy that Marilyn had. And usually she's nitpicking everything about everyone's life. But then when she's trying to build her own, as we talked about last episode, she maybe acts the way she does because, where's the husband? We never see him. Right. You're always going to be the person giving advice sometimes when you're not in the best headspace yourself. And so I liked seeing her uncomfortable. She goes, Chad, stop. No, please stop.
like for real, stop.
Like, I really need you to stop. Yeah.
But one of my favorite lines that she said was, going through all of this, I could really use a good psychologist or psychiatrist. She's like, it's a good thing that I'm me.
Yeah. Which is something that we should all say.
Yes, so she'll analyze herself and she'll be good to go. She'll work through it herself.
So there we go. We do a full episode where she's a little like checking things and seeing what's going to work and how she's going to figure this out. But then at the very end, right back
It
to
goes
old
back
Marilyn.
to
Yeah.
it's a good thing that she's Marilyn.
Gosh, I almost need to see somebody to talk this through, but at least I am amazing and I can help myself.
It's so funny. It just reminds me of something funny. I was doing something yesterday with my mom and I messed up on something, and I was like, oh, I guess I, made a mistake. And she's like, what? You? And I was like, well, I usually never do, but I mean, she's like, you're such an ass.
Wait, who made fun of who? She made fun of you, kind of?
My mom was making fun of me because
Oh,
I was having her do something for me and I put the label wrong. And she was like, what's this? And I was like, oh, I messed up. And she's like, what? You messed up? No.
oh my
I
gosh.
was like, well, I usually never do. She's like, oh God.
My thoughts with that though is that's fair and that's healthy. Like, the reason I did our award at the beginning, which was not your award because you were fantastic last episode, but the reason you were great. I really dropped the ball last episode, but the reason I gave myself like a 2-star review instead of a 5-star review is like with your mom and you usually, and you could affirm this. Yeah. I'm usually telling you, Kelly, how great we are, how wonderful and amazing I am. And so there's nothing wrong coming into today's episode. I was like, this is just Kelly. I just jacked it up and I was boring and unfunny. I think
you are like way too hard on yourself,
but I'm saying that the good thing I think I mentioned before too, how I was talking with a friend who was like, I was really confident about something I should have been confident about. And they tried to like pull me down. And I was like, no, you should be confident most of the times, but you should also have the wherewithal here. Oh, here's my revelation. You should be confident when you have a reason to be confident. And if you've earned that. So if your mom tells you that you never say, oops, I made an error. Well, maybe Kelly has not made an error in a long time, but she has the wherewithal when she makes an error to call it out. And that's all I'm saying. If you watched episode 16 and you remotely enjoyed it, we really thank you because it was not very good.
I mean, listening to my Yellowstone analyzation was probably horrible. All real like hardcore Yellowstone fans are going to be like, what the fuck? So, don't be too hard on yourself.
Okay, so then it was fair. We matched each other with just.
I think we matched each other.
Yeah, how terrible. How bad could these two significantly over 35, over 40-year-old folks do? And,
my gosh, I'm just tacking on another year on Friday.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday. Does that wrap up the episode? That's all we kind of covered right here.
Yeah, I mean, that's everything. I mean, the trainer turned out to be a cannibal. So, you know, they lost their television deal. Method Man is no longer their celebrity friend, unfortunately. Yeah. Marilyn lost her gay bestie, but, realized she's got to slow her roll and she'll work that out herself. She doesn't need anybody to help her.
And most importantly, like you said at the dinner at the end, they have each other.
They do
and
have
that's
each other.
What we like. Yeah. So,
even though Marilyn's still trying to marry Julie off to somebody else.
I know Arthur just never gets a fair shot, and he's so good to her too.
Poor Arthur.
But this opens up a lot though, because this gives the confidence maybe for Julie and Billy that they can be recognized by somebody and they can be supported. Just don't get in your own way.
Right. And it's hard. It's hard not to get in your own way. I think, sometimes you are your own worst enemy. So
specifically now. May I ask you, as we wrap out, we don't need to get into the specifics of your birthday and age and all that stuff, but you are a Sagittarius, somebody I've known for more than 15 years, right? Give me your words of advice here of just growing into the next year. Like, what would you say is something that where you see it now, this is a bit of a lesson that you can share?
So this last year, I've been actually very reflective, more so than normal. And I think one of the biggest lessons I can share is to be more aware and to be more present. I look around at my life and my friends and people that I've known like you for years and years and years. And, I feel like I haven't always been the best friend as far as being there when I'm there. Because I was always wrapped up in work or other things or whatever the excuses go. And I'm really trying my best now to change that. So look around you, appreciate the people that are there with you, and actually be present. Put the phone down, have a conversation, look someone in the eye, and let them know that you're there. Check on them, not just when you need something, not just when it's a holiday.
Maybe that's why you're outside, because you want to get fresh air this time. Typically, you're cramped in a storage closet or whatever.
Yes.
So maybe you're starting to live it through right now, you know, and as you get into
take it all in and just appreciate the goodness that comes, and the good with the bad. And when the bad stuff comes, because it always will.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's happening now.
Try not to let it be
pissed.
like world ending,
yeah.
You know, and that's a hard thing for me too, because I'm a crybaby. Like, I'm so much more emotional than I think anybody would ever guess or know. But I just, you know, you look around and I think, you know, try to get it sooner than I did. So, you know, time is valuable, and I think we all kind of lose sight of that. And it doesn't last forever.
In fairness, you worked in really competitive industries, so it's pretty easy to lose like scheduling. Like, I remember one time you visited, I think we were meeting around Lower Manhattan, and I remember your energy was just like, okay, what, let's go. It was like, whoa, hi friend. And we met with your cousin and all these things. We had a great night, but your initial coming from your meeting, I can't remember, I think it was with the publisher or something of that. I'm not sure, but it was Lower Manhattan, and it was like, maybe I was like 10 minutes late. I don't know. So maybe a reason for you to look at me in a certain way, but you were so focused. So in fairness to what you're saying, how you're going to try to look a little bit more introspective, is that what you said? Or
yeah, just being more aware of your place in those relationships. How are you giving versus just taking? You know, I have this really great friend that is my role model for being a friend. And I've known her since high school, middle school, probably, like forever.
And she didn't vote you senior superlatives, damn it. This bitch.
Well, I went to a bunch of different schools, so I had to think back on which school was it that I was at. And I totally thought you said something else, because I'm going deaf as I get older. But she is the person that's always there. She makes an effort. She puts it into her life to check on everyone. She, you know, she's just always been that great person. You know, she's there when you need her. She comes, she's supportive. She's just, you know, and I felt like I got used to it so much that I didn't give back as much as I should have. So I'm doing my best to do that now. So Ida, I love you. Thank you for always being such a great friend. And I want to be more like you when I grow up.
You see, your new, you know, your new year is amongst us, celebrating all the Sagittariuses. Yeah. And Kellie, happy birthday to you. Thank you for doing the show here with me. It was an idea we created. But we're on episode 8, so that means we're going to episode 9 of season 2, and then after that it's just 10 more. So what the heck?
I know. Well, and hopefully we can do a Christmas special also this season in the vein of what we did for Halloween, because Christmas is my favorite season, since I am
the holidays. Yes, happy Hanukkah, of course. Just all of it, and transitioning into the new year as well. Maybe we'll do a year-end recap, and then right back on our journey with these two, because Billy and Julie are so fun. Billy Epstein, Julie Klausner, Kessler on the show. They're so fun to watch. All right, that's it for today. I'm excited that we could maybe do a holiday episode, and I'll talk to you then. Okay, Kellie?
Yes, thanks.
Have a good birthday. I hope you feel good.
Thank you.